All right, welcome back to the channel. So, a word comes from Deontay Wilder's camp about the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight 3, and it is that the fight is going to take place this year. Now, what I think is interesting about this and is making me actually hopeful for this is because Fox Sports has not yet announced their boxing program, their boxing schedule, and Showtime already has. And since they are both PBC, those are the two networks that PBC air their fights on. You know that Fox should be coming out pretty soon with the schedule, with its schedule. And Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury more than likely is going to be on it, along with Errol Spence Jr. Versus Danny Garcia. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Deontay Wilder's manager, Shelley Finkel, says that the fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury is going to happen this year. Before I get into that and the significance of that, let me say special thank you to everybody that supports the channel. Thank you to everybody, that supports on the Patreon, on the as a channel member, in the live streams. Thank you guys so much for all your support. And yeah, man, just thank you very much. And also in this particular video, I'm not going to do it in all. I want to say a special, RIP, rest in peace to Michael Brooks. If you guys aren't familiar with Michael Brooks, he passed away. He had a YouTube channel called the Michael Brooks Show. He's a political commentator, young guy, brilliant guy, man. Excellent mind. Very honest, straightforward type of dude. I was a member of his Patreon. I was always watched his channel and learned from his channel. Didn't always agree with his viewpoint on things, but didn't disagree too often. But it was a guy that really just opened your eyes and let you know about a lot of stuff that was going on in the world, and giving his viewpoint on it. Just a brilliant guy, and he passed away suddenly. Big shame, man. Rest in peace. Rest in power. Rest in peace, Michael Brooks. But so let's get into the video. Deontay Wilder. It's been interesting, man, because ever since when Deontay Wilder fought Tyson Fury, right? Pretty much immediately after that, within a few weeks, a month after that, the COVID-19 hit, and the boxing world pretty much shut down as far as like real fights taking place, right? But there's a lot of boxing conversations going on, and like this channel particularly, there's other channels as well that really we just stayed active, talking about boxing, talking about anything that would come up in the boxing world. Because in this sport, you get used to, after being a fan for a long time, I think you get used to the fact that there are droughts almost every year for good boxing matches, right? That you can get, week after week after week of fights, but it might be a month, 2 months before there's any matchup that you really anticipate seeing. You know what I mean? So, during this drought time, we're talking about all these different subjects. The Glovegate comes up again. Glovegate comes up again, and so we're going back and forth in that, and people talking about when the rematch is going to take place, and Tyson Fury has a lot of marketing material, I call it, or PR type of articles coming out of the UK, coming out of Top Rank, saying that Tyson Fury basically acting as if Tyson Fury's in the driver's seat of the negotiation, and is he going to fight Anthony Joshua, or is he going to fight Dillian White? Is he going to give Deontay Wilder going to do take step aside money? All of those type of conversations going on, right? So you would get the idea that Tyson Fury is the guy that is really driving the rematch process. And I said back the whole time, and I would say this every once in a while, I'm like, well, Deontay Wilder's the guy with the rematch clause, right? So Deontay Wilder has a lot to say about where the fight's going to take place, when the fight's going to take place, all of the, the different specifications, whatever has not already been agreed to before this fight, he has a lot of say so in that, right? So, the idea that we're just going to wait around to hear what Tyson Fury has to say about the rematch and whether he's going to take it, I've always thought was kind of off, right? You can go back to, about the time, you can go back to Anthony Joshua when Anthony Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz, right? There was never a sense that Anthony Joshua wasn't the one that was going to be, really driving the rematch, right? Or he and Eddie Hearn in Matchroom, and that, the PBC was in charge and these guys were just, kind of off, right? But they had a lot to say. So, but obviously Matchroom and those guys had a lot to say about the rematch because they were the champion. Same thing goes for Deontay Wilder. So what I'm looking forward to, with Shelley, now that Shelley Finkel said, no, this fight is going to happen this year, is that, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with the Fox when Fox announces its official schedule, right? Now, the reason why I know that Fox is going to announce its official schedule pretty soon is because Showtime just announced its official schedule. And if you go back to, what is it, like the beginning of maybe it was 2018. When did I'm not quite sure when it was that Fox really got in there was 2018. I'm thinking and talking at the same time, forgive me. It was 2018 where Fox and the PBC, entered into their agreement. But in the year that took place after that, in 2019, Showtime announced what their fight card was going to be. Then it was a matter of a few weeks, and then Showtime announced it, and then there was a matter of a few weeks, and then Fox announced it. So we're more than likely in the same scenario here. We just had a bunch of fights announced with, like the Jermell Charlo pay-per-view, the Gervonta Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz pay-per-view. They also have just the other fights that they laid out, like Obali versus Nonino Donaire. They have Sergey Lipinets versus Abdulkarov. You also have Erickson Lubin and Go Shaw fighting. So they came out with that. So the next thing that you're going to hear is what the Fox lineup is going to be. And that it's going to be the same. It should be the pay-per-view for Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury will be pretty much the same. It should be the same setup where either Fox or ESPN is going to show the fight, but it'll be a co-promotional deal with Fox and ESPN again. So, it will be when the PBC announces their fight card that we will know for sure, what that's going to be. Now, I'm looking forward to the fight. I hope it's this year. And, caveat on all of this stuff, even though I'm not going to do a lot of this because I want these fights to happen. I'm so amped up about these fights that, but we still have to remember that any and all of these fights are questionable until the day that the fight happens, right? Because as you see, with the virus, that you can have testing, right? They get tested and all of a sudden, boom, fight gets canceled over any small type of health issue, right? So like if somebody catches a cold, more than likely they're that's symptomatic. We got to cancel the fight. So all of this stuff I do believe is, still kind of up in the air. Not that, their intentions are known. So the Showtime's intentions are known. Fox's intentions will be known, but we won't know for sure, if the fight is going to happen until those guys actually walk into the ring. But one thing I will tell you for sure that I know is going to pop off, they're going to be watching them gloves real quick. They're going to be watching them gloves really, really carefully. They're going to be watching their water bottles really, really carefully. But I do also look forward to hearing some some news about Deontay Wilder that people have been asking questions about. Is Mark Breland going to be a trainer? Is Mark Breland going to be in the camp? Is there a new trainer? Right? Does Deontay Wilder himself believe that Tyson Fury cheated? All the questions that people that don't already know those answers, are asking. We're going to have really good conversations on the channel and other people's channel over the next, couple months. So, all in all, this is really great news. I do again believe that this is a hint, that this is a tell that Shelley Finkel, when Shelley Finkel says that the fight's going to happen this year, that's a tell that Fox should be announcing when the fight's going to be. And, they're going to start announcing it pretty soon, because if they want to make money off of it, and they're going to have to do a significant amount of promotion, to get people, for the, to watch that fight. But I think that it's going to be successful because you had a UFC card that's is successful, and high level boxing matches, are easier to take place than, high level football games or basketball games or baseball games. Cause really, the two most important people, the only two essential people to be in there, specific people that are essential to be in there, will be the fighters. So you just got to get the fighters and the fighters camps through without having any type of infections or whatever, and the fight can take place. That's much more difficult in the other sports and, the other team sports. So it seems like in this type of advantage that a pay-per-view event, right, where the pay of the fighters are being subsidized heavily by the fight fans themselves, man, I think it could be successful. I'm definitely going to be paying for it. But anyway, you let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.